So you'll have to excuse my appearance. I just got home from work and I am absolutely tired and disheveled, but let's see if we can do this right. How's it going, everyone? You got your boy Corey here, aka Crasher, bringing you guys a new and exciting video. And ladies and gentlemen, what we have for you in this video is a brand new Pokemon Sword and Shield competitive guide. And in this particular episode of the series, we're going to be taking a look at how to use Zamazenta. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoy the video, leave a like, subscribe, and most importantly, cool cats, smash it up in the comments down below because I love hearing from you guys. Without further ado, let's begin. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so taking a look at Uncrowned Zamazenta, it has two forms just like its counterpart Zacian. So Uncrowned Zamazenta is going to be that of pure fighting, and you have the following resists, that being to the likes of Bug, Dark, and Rock. However, you are weak to the likes of Fairy, Flying, and Psychic, so do keep that in mind. And then taking a look at its ability, it gets its own signature ability known as Dauntless Shield, which boosts your defense stat by 1 stage whenever you switch into battle, which is really nice. And speaking of nice, ladies and gentlemen, we fast forward to its stat distribution. We can see that this Pokemon right here has a similar stat spread to the likes of Zacian. So we have ourselves 92 on the HP, 130 on the attack, 115 in both the defense and special defense, 80 on the special attack, and 138 on the speed. So when compared to Uncrowned Zacian, these stats are the exact same. But now, taking a look at its crowned form, it now becomes a fighting steel type Pokemon. Now, this is where things get better for Zamazenta. It has an immunity to poison, and you have very strong resists to the likes of Bug and Rock, and you also have other resistances to the likes of Dark, Dragon, Grass, Ice, Normal, and Steel. However, bear in mind you are weak to the likes of Fighting, Fire, and Ground. Now, as for its ability, it stays the same. It is known as Dauntless Shield, which I already explained. Boost your defense by 1 stage whenever you switch into battle. Now, speaking of defenses, let's take a look at Zamazenta Crown's stats here. We have ourselves base 92 on the HP, 130 on the attack, 145 in both the defense and special defense. We have 80 on the special attack, and we have 128 on the speed. So, a couple of noticeable differences here when it comes to this particular stat distribution. We have ourselves base 128 speed from base 138 speed, so it loses 10 speed points, and you also gain plus 30 in both the defense and special defense. So as we can see right here, ladies and gentlemen, this Pokemon is definitely living up to the Shield moniker. This Pokemon is a big fat shield, okay? Base 145 in both the defense and special defense, like, holy smokes, man. That is just absolutely bulky, but that is where all of the hype ends for Zamazenta, unfortunately, as it does have some crippling limitations to go along with this Pokemon, and it's a damn shame too, because I really like Zamazenta, but unfortunately it doesn't exactly have the best move pool to make use of. However, don't count this Pokemon out, as it is still a very good Pokemon to consider when you are going to be building your Uber's team. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's head on over to Pokemon Showdown for some set ideas on how you can use Zamazenta. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so the first set that I have for you guys is a rather interesting set going on for Zamazenta. We are going to be capitalizing on its defensive capabilities while still being somewhat offensive here in this situation. So, for the item of choice, in order to achieve crowned form for Zamazenta, you will always be forced to hold the Rusted Shield. So do keep that in mind. And you also have access to just one single ability, being Dauntless Shield. So do keep that in mind as well. Now, the first move that we got going on here is going to be known as Metal Burst. Now, what this does is if you are hit by an attack, then you are going to be dealing 50% more damage back to the opponent. So say, for example, if you were to have an attack against you, That takes away 200 of your base HP. What will happen is you activate Metal Burst, and you are going to deal 300 HP damage to the opponent. So this right here kind of plays on its bulkiness right here, and it is a good way to kind of troll those that think that they can take you down, but you end up living a hit, and then you end up dealing damage back that hurts even more. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves the likes of Close Combat. Now, I will say it is a damn shame that Close Combat is really the best fighting type attack that Zamazenta has access to, and here's why. It does have a base 120 power, however, it lowers the defense and special defense by 1 stage each every time you use Close Combat, so it's kind of counterproductive for a more defensive approach for Zamazenta. However, it is the best thing that we can make use of in terms of its fighting type stab. And keep in mind, you also KO the likes of Tyranitar and Excadrill that think that they can come in and try to take a hit on you, but you have Close Combat to counter those Pokemon as well. Now, next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves Behemoth Bash, which is its signature move. It's base 100 power, it's a physical steel type move, and it deals double damage against Pokemon that are in their Dynamax or Gigantamax form, so this is a great way to check and even counter those that are in their Dynamax form. And last but not least, guys, we have ourselves Crunch, which is a respectable base 80 power dark type move with a 20% chance to lower the opponent's defense by 1 stage. And also to note, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to point out that with the combination of Steel, Fighting, and Dark type move coverage, you have unresisted coverage right here. That means that any Pokemon of any type combination is going to, at minimum, be dealt regular effective damage, if not super effective. So do keep that in mind as well. Now, there are also other options that you can utilize for a set in particular like this, because this set is very much interchangeable. Now, moving forward to its stat distribution, we have ourselves a very interesting stat distribution, as you can see right here. We're going to be running an Impish Nature to fully capitalize on its ability to tank physical hits, especially when you pair it with its ability Dauntless Shield, automatically boosting the defense stat by 1 stage. Now, we have ourselves 2v2 EVs on the HP, 32 on the attack, 180 on the defense, and 44 into speed. The 32 attack is so that way you will have a little bit of offensive prowess, so that way you will be able to ensure KOs to the likes of Excadrill and Tyranitar with the usage of Close Combat. 180 on the defense in terms of its EV spread right here is so that way you will get a lot of good physical bulk investment. You want to have max HP because you want to have good HP bulk overall. And last but not least, guys, we have 44 on the speed. Now, take note of the 303 speed points here. This is to ensure that you will always get that 1 speed jump against Excadrill. Even with max investment with its speed and a jolly nature, Excadrill is going to hit a maximum speed of 302. So this spread ensures that you will always be able to outpace any unboosted Excadrill and be able to counter them with a set like this right here. So next up, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be taking more of an offensive slash, I guess you could say, defensive approach here. I mean, it's a bit of both when you think about it. Now, what it is we got going on here for the item of choice, once again, should kind of go without saying, is going to be Rusted Shield, and that is so that you will be able to be in your crown form. Dauntless Shield is going to be the ability to use, and we have ourselves, once again, the ROM Classic, that being Rest and Sleep Talk, baby. Shout out to ROM once again if you're watching the video. Hope you enjoy this set in particular. So, what we got going on here for Rest, it puts you to sleep for 2 full turns. However, it restores your HP and cures any status ailments. And this is where things get good, ladies and gentlemen. We have ourselves Sleep Talk here, which allows for you to still be asleep, but not be a complete sitting duck, because this will choose any of the other moves at random. So that right there is so that way you are not completely helpless while you are in the sleep condition. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves Revenge. Now hold the phone, ladies and gents. I know what y'all's probably be thinking. You're thinking, well, wait a second there, Crasher. Why not go for something like close combat if you are especially aiming to be more offensive here in this sort of set? Hear me out, ladies and gentlemen. The reason why we are not using close combat here and instead using revenge is so that way we don't have to lower our defenses, and special defense for that matter, in order to get off a good fighting type stab attack. We have ourselves revenge here. Now, bear in mind that it is initially base 60 power. However, the power will double if the user is damaged by the target. So, given the fact that there are a lot of Pokemon that are threatening in the tier and will likely outspeed you and cause you to take a hit, you can fire back with revenge and deal 120 base power damage, given the fact that it goes from 60 to base 120 power when you are taking a hit and you end up going after the opponent. So this right here might actually be a pretty decent alternative when you think about it. You just kind of got to work with it a little bit, you know what I'm saying? You got to be able to make it work with revenge, but if you can make it work, then this might actually be a relatively decent substitute for a good fighting type stab. And last but not least, guys, we have ourselves Play Rough, because Play Rough is a good fairy type move with a base 90 power and a 10% chance to lower the opponent's attack by 1 stage. And this right here, when you combo it with fighting type stab and you got fairy coverage, this right here allows for you for 2 move slots to have a good amount of type coverage overall. And last but not least, guys, we have ourselves, once again, the stat distribution. So what it is we got going on here, we're going to be running all out in Adamant Nature, so that way you have as much attack as possible. We have ourselves 212 on the HP, 252 on the attack, and 44 on the speed. This is to ensure, ladies and gentlemen, that you outpace the likes of Excadrill, so that way you will be able to get the speed jump on it and be able to deliver good damage against it. Now, there's not really much else to say about the set other than what I've already said. This set may not work in theory, but on paper, it might be something worth trying out. So next up, ladies and gentlemen, what we have here are some moves to make note of when it comes to the use of Zamazenta. Number 1, we have ourselves Agility here, which raises the user's speed by 2 stages. It could be good if you're aiming to be an Adamant max attack sort of set, and you want to set up to +2 in your speed and be like a late game cleaner. That could be something to keep in mind. We also have ourselves the move Crunch, which I think I actually highlighted in the previous set right here, but Crunch nonetheless is still a really good move to make use of. Next up, we have ourselves Ice Fang here, which is also a really decently powered base 65 ice type move to make use of, and it's also something that will hit ground type Pokemon for super effective damage, which, funny enough, happens to be one of your weaknesses. Next up, guys, we have ourselves Psychic Fangs here, which is a base 85 psychic power move that destroys screens. And on top of that, it also gives you a good offensive approach against one of your weaknesses, that being to fighting. So that is something to keep in mind as well. And on the topic of screens, ladies and gentlemen, this Pokemon gets access to the likes of Light Screen and Reflect. Now, Light Screen for 5 turns, unless it's 8 turns if you're holding like Clay, it will allow for you to take half damage from special attacks, and with Reflect doing similar, but working in terms of taking half damage from physical attacks, and this will also get bolstered to 8 turns if you're holding like Clay. Now, do keep in mind, you can't hold like Clay when you are utilizing Crowned Zamazenta, but there's going to be more on that a little bit later on here in this video. So next up, another move to make note of would be the likes of Substitute here. So Substitute is a really good move to consider if you want to ease prediction, especially given the fact that if you know your opponent is going to switch out, or if you predict something and you go for Substitute here, it will take away 25% of your maximum health. However, you will be behind a protective barrier, so that means that you will be shielded from the likes of Leech Seed and other status conditions. It is something to keep keep in mind. And last but not least, guys, we have ourselves the likes of Wild Charge here, which is a respectable base 90 power electric type move. However, 25% of the damage you deal will come back to you in recoil damage. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I feel like that this Pokemon gets insanely screwed from an offensive standpoint. I know this Pokemon's gimmick is meant to be defensive, but it doesn't even really get that much use out of its defenses when you think about it. I mean, it has no real good way of setting up defensively while still being effective. You got Pokemon that would give it serious competition, such as the likes of Ferrothorn, Toxapex, Corviknight. The Gen 8 regional bird is a worthy competitor to a freaking Shield legendary, but that's not it, ladies and gentlemen. That ain't even the half of it. Let me show you something here. Yeah, it doesn't even get access to freaking Swords Dance, which is just, that is a damn shame right there, because if it had access to Swords Dance, it would have a decent option to set up as a sweeper here, because it raises the user's attack stat by 2 stages. But unfortunately for Zamazenta, the best move that it can make use of in terms of setting up its offenses period would be, in fact, Howl, which raises the user's and allies' attack stat by 1 stage, which, okay, could be good for doubles, but in terms of singles, I mean, come on, like, you might as well not even use a move like this, because it's a damn shame. It's just straight up a damn shame that Zamazenta kind of got the short end of the stick here when it comes to the legendary trio in Generation 8. Okay, so I didn't exactly want to end the video without showing Uncrowned Zamazenta some semblance of love. So just hear me out on this, because this set might actually surprise you once put into practice. So we're taking an all-out offensive approach here, and unlike Crowned Zamazenta, regular Zamazenta can actually take this approach more effectively, and here's why. So you notice that the held item is now free, and we can utilize whatever held item we want. In this situation here, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be utilizing Choice Band here. Now, while it does lock you into one move until you switch out, it boosts your attack stat by 1 stage, and then coupled with the defense boost from Dauntless Shield, that's essentially a free bulk up upon entering the battlefield, which is actually pretty nice. So, the first move is going to be known as Close Combat, which is going to be your obligatory fighting type stab, and unlike its crown form, you can actually afford to have defense drops here, because you are not aiming to be defensive, you're aiming to be offensive here in this situation. And coming off a Choice Band boosted stab base 120 attack like Close Combat, that is just going to absolutely hurt like crazy, you know what I'm saying? So, next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves Crunch. Crunch is a must-have when you are a fighting-type Pokemon like Zamazenta. You want to have Dark-type coverage, period. Otherwise, Psychic-type Pokemon are going to have a field day with you. But not with Crunch, because Crunch, like I said before, is a base 80 power Dark-type move with a 20% chance to lower the opponent's defense stat by 1 stage. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, I decided to throw in Fire Fang there for the likes of Ferrothorn. However, given the fact that you are going to be a good fighting attacker with Close Combat, you can actually opt out to switch Fire Fang and go for a move that might suit your fancy a little bit better. I have Fire Fang here because Fire Fang universally is not that bad of a move when you think about it, because it has a 10% chance to burn and a 10% chance to flinch. But if that truly does not suit your fancy, then you could easily go for another move. I would recommend something like Psychic Fangs, which is a really good move to utilize against the likes of Eternatus and Toxapex from being completely walled here. It's a base 85 power move, and backed up with Choice Band, you're going to have respectable power backed up behind them fangs. You know what I'm saying? And last but not least, guys, we have ourselves Iron Head here, which is going to be your answer to Fairy-type Pokemon that will try to switch in and make your life miserable. It's a respectable base 80 power with a 30% chance to flinch. Now, taking a look at the stats right here, we are going to be going all out with a jolly nature here because we want to have as much natural speed as possible. And just take a look at the numbers right here. Like, first off, we have ourselves 2v2 EVs into the attack and 2v2 into the speed with 4 in a special defense. But just check out these numbers right here, man. You got 412 speed, which is damn respectable. And with a choice band boosting your 359 attack stat, that's going to be well above 500, so that is definitely going to be something to take into consideration when using Zamazenta, period, in competitive play. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so that's going to be a wrap up here for this video on how you can use Zamazenta in competitive play. Now, do keep in mind, once again, ladies and gentlemen, should kind of go without saying, these sets are very much interchangeable, and these are simply some suggestions on how you could use Zamazenta effectively in competitive battles. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys enjoyed the video, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, and smash up in the comments down below, because I love hearing from you guys. Always have, always will. That ain't gonna change, baby. Woo! So thank you guys so very much for watching. Have yourself a wonderful day or night, depending on your time zone. It's time for this sleepyhead to get some sleep up in this. You know what I'm saying? I got off a 12-hour day shift, crazy as hell, and it was off 1 hour of sleep. So I'm going to bed. Have a good night. I'll see you guys in the next one.